Hello. Let's begin. We'll start with our hands, our breath. So face one palm away from navel. Actively open up the hand with your own ligaments and muscles. You're spreading open the palm. Get connected to our breath. Just adding a tiny bit of drawback to each digit. I'm starting with the littlest digit. It's just that we're tying conscious breathing, choiceful receptivity, or listening together in the same moment. That's a great way to get started. Feel the sit bones settling toward the earth. As we enrich our experience of sitting with feeling. Feel how the thigh bones start to relax. How the abdomen can soften. All the way through the thumb. And we'll keep going to the other side. Just getting connected through our breath. Choiceful feeling. I choose to feel. Listening with the body. As we're finishing up, just aligning the skull bones over your pelvis. You can feel the center of your brain over the center of pelvis. And then relaxing the hands on lap. What is of ultimate concern? And if you subscribe to the notion that spiritual intelligence is something that can be developed, one of the definitions that we have for such a term is being able to know and articulate what is of ultimate concern. Absolutely true. So this is not what's important in our relative life. This isn't like, what's at the top of our to-do list today? This is like, how real does it get? How spirited? What is of ultimate concern? We don't have to have an answer, but sometimes it's just nice to have an inquiry kind of floating by to just orient us. Like, oh, what did I sit down with the aim of doing this morning? Great. Let's move into knee pile. Right knee over left. Eagle. Inhale the arms out to the side. Stretch all the way through the palms and the fingertips. Exhaling the left elbows smoothly over the right. The Buddhists term this ultimate concern as true nature. How do we know? How do we experience our true nature? What is most deeply real and true in this existence? And inhaling, unwind. Set the right hand down beside you. Raise the left. Moving into side bend in knee pile. Exhale. Again, spreading the left hand bones. Lift, reaching the trunk away from the sitting bones. And inhaling, let's bring that left arm up and over. And allowing the head to hang or remain shifted a bit to the right. Neck release. So my left palm is about a foot off the ground, maybe more. Beside left hip. Letting that left jawline just melt away from my left collarbone. And with the right hand assist, we'll move head, trunk, back upright. When we switch the legs, we'll do those 3 items on the other side. Breathing, feeling. So with that Ujjayi breath, inhale. It's a slow inhale. Part of the function of that technique is to slow our breathing down. And in that slowing down, the air in our nostrils gets turbinated. Exhale the right over the left. The current of air itself, the way that it spins and moves through our nostrils, across our nerves, and into our lungs, is signal. There's neurological signal off of that. So in a sense, it's a message to our own nervous system. How we breathe is message to our entire body. You'll start to feel if the breath flows in or gushes in or trickles in or gets snortled in. You can feel if the breath is continuous. There's a lot of velocity changes. Side bend. Inhale and wind the arms, setting the left palm down, raising the right. Exhaling. Letting the head drift a little left. And neck release. Inhaling the right hand to the right. So we're bringing that palm down a little bit lower than our shoulder, with the right side of the jaw or skull tipped away from that hand. Feeling, breathing. And when we inhale, use the left hand, support the head up. Let's unwind the legs. And when we lie back, we'll move into twisting root abs. So cross right knee over left knee. Thereafter, select if you'll be hooking your right foot behind your left calf, or you may need to leave them free. It just depends. And then shift and feel both halves of your back on the ground. So if you've crossed your legs and you feel most of your weight on the left side, you have to use your abdominals and hold both sides of your back on the ground. Inhale the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. And then exhaling, as you curl the tailbone, and use that thigh pressure. Contact strongly, thigh into thigh. Starting to work that rotation of the thigh bone. Pull low belly down. Inhaling, keep the head and the shoulders up. You're breathing both halves of the back down. Exhale, curling tailbone. Let that thigh pressure help you feel inside and next to the hip socket. Pull low belly down. For some people, this really catches that deep, deep outer hip. For some people, this really illuminates that inner part of the hip. Once more, inhale. Keeping the shoulder blades up, so both halves of back can remain down. Exhale, curling tailbone, press thigh into thigh. Curling the tailbone. And as you get the thigh bones to lift up, those low belly muscles turn on. Pull low belly down. Now keep the legs as they are. Inhale, set the head down. Stack your hands on your right thigh, mid-thigh. Keep the feet up. Keep the feet active. Exhale, curl the tailbone. The head stays down. Hands press thighs. Thighs press hands. Keep curling the tailbone. Lift those thigh bones up. Pull low belly down. Inhale, slight release. Exhale, curling tailbone, press hands into thighs. Draw the thighs into the hands. Keep the back steadily even on the ground. Keep going up with the tailbone, up with the thigh bones. Pull low belly down. And release. Inhale, unwind. Some of us have hips or hip sockets or thigh bones where one side rotates a little more freely than the other. So you may even notice as we're setting up the legs in these twining vines, so now we're left over right, that as you're engaging the legs, strongly against each other. You may feel slight weight shifts across your back. That's part of the abdominal too. Keep the weight evenly distributed across the small of your back, the sacrum, the low back. So if one of your thigh bones moves freely and another less freely, you may feel the weight shifting a little bit one way or another. So part of the abdominal is to keep that weight centered, the weight distributed across the low back. All right, with the hands behind the head, let's do the second side. These parameters. Inhale, the head and the shoulder blades up off the ground. The feet are up. And now exhaling, curling tailbone, press thigh into thigh. Keep the weight evenly distributed across the lowest part of your back. Pull low belly down. Inhaling, keep the head and the shoulder blades up. Feet active. Exhale, curl tailbone. Press thigh into thigh. Elevate those thigh bones. Not the feet, the thigh bones. Pull low belly down. Again, inhale. Exhale, curling tailbone. Press thigh into thigh. Can you feel the thigh bones lifting toward the sky? Pull those low belly muscles down. Now inhaling, set the head down. Keep the feet up. Stack the hands on your left thigh. Keeping the feet active. Exhale, now curl tailbone. Push hands into thigh, thigh into hands. The head stays down. The thigh bones move up. Pull low belly down. Inhale. Into the low back. Exhale, curling tailbone. Press the hands into thigh. So this, Marissa, right here is that same spot. You breathing that part of your back down into the ground. Pulling low belly down. Good, let's unwind. Release. With your roll, we'll set up bridge. Okay. And just as a reminder, our thigh bones don't necessarily always get into all of their range. They're like, as joints may not move into all of the ranges that they can. And that's just kind of the nature of any movement modality. We'll get a lot into certain ranges, and then certain ranges will just be neglected. It's just kind of part of the the movement vocabulary that we're working with in a form of yoga. Okay. So we've got our feet set in parallel. I reach down with fingertips. I can skim heels. Inhale. Now, as I lightly squeeze the roll with my inner legs, I'm intoning that internal rotation. I'm intoning that twining vine action. Exhale, the tailbone moves toward the roll. I'm actively rotating those thigh bones inwardly. Even though there's not a lot of movement, I can still intone it. And coming up into bridge. Okay. I'm going to place our thumb and our forefinger around the hip. My triceps are planted on the ground, so I have lots of leverage. Inhale, grow the chest bones away from the hands, away from the hips. Exhaling, shift the tailbone toward the roll. Press with the hands. bones reach forward away from your nose. You can relax the hands in these final few deep breaths as you're engaging the inner legs, pressing the legs away from your nose, connecting to your deep Ujjayi breath. And start to draw that energy, that intensity, that voltage, that energy. Start to wash that through your core. Getting it moving toward your heart and into your brain. So we can have a little energetic play. We can actually play with these energetic discoveries, these intensities, these kind of underserved areas. We can play with that, right? Lowering down out of bridge, you can release that roll. You know what? Let's remain lying. I'm going to grab my strap for a lying fold in a sense. So I've got my right leg in the air and I've got the strap. My left leg, I'm strongly straightening along the ground. And I'm going to take this a step further. My left leg, I'm going to contract the quadricep so verily. My heel actually lifts off the ground. So that's a really strong, full contraction. And it's worth working toward that, where you contract the left leg muscles and straighten the knee, that you feel the heel kind of lift off the ground. Yeah, I'm not trying to hyperextend or create weirdness, but it's nice to have access to the full range. Now, feeling breath in the back of your body, the low back, the low ribs. And just like our joints go through ranges, some ranges we go through more if we're swimmers, some ranges we go through more if we just do yoga, you're right, just like we have ranges of motion in our joints in our body, we have ranges of attention. We have ranges of feeling, and hopefully you start to pick up on that and flesh those out. So if you're unaccustomed to breathing into the back of the ribs, let this be a moment right now. How do I breathe? How do I increase my attentional range to include my low back, the back of my rib cage? To listen to the quality of your breath. If we're trying to push ourselves a little bit outside of a workable range, You may feel that air getting turbinated in a coarse or unpredictable way. Listen to that flow and that fluency of breath entering body, the nose, the lungs. And we'll switch sides. So I'm using a loop on my foot. Even if I could grab my foot, I'm using a loop so that my shoulders can remain more relaxed, resting on the ground, and my head, right? If I'm a little stiff in the morning or something like that, grabbing my foot might kind of jam up the back of my neck and my head's kind of rolling around. This way I can just keep my entire skull and the backs of my shoulders just pleasantly ground supported. And engage the leg muscles on the right side. I can even feel my heel lifting a bit off the ground. And just kind of a personal note, you don't have to practice the way I'm kind of out loud processing, but I'm concerning myself with the feeling and the quality of breath much more than the degree of stretch. Right? Those ranges will open up when the nervous system feels safe. And part of that communication comes through just the fluency, the flow of air molecules across those nostril hairs. All right, let's release that. So now, when we turn over and set up for dolphin, these legs and hips are ready to rock. All right, so we go elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. Relaxing through the neck. And when you're ready, on exhale, smoothly press the knees off the ground. I'm engaging those leg muscles, the ones that strongly straighten the heel and pressing through the heel, moving the leg bones, the thigh bones, away from nostrils. Connecting to breath, choosing feeling. Press all the way through the hands, Kara. Your chest bones will move a little bit more toward the ankles. Yep, keep going. Good. Good, keep pressing. There, now, and I know this is going to be strong, but now lift, move the sit bones away from your armpits. And feel the whole rib cage lengthening. Feel the rib cage, the ribs moving, lengthening away from the arm. There you go. That's it, that's it, that's it. You're going to try that again. So a little bit of compression, compaction, but now you're moving out of it. Good, 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 good. That's it, that's it. Good. All right. Let's gently set knees down. Please rest from that and stand. Let's put a block at the foot of our mat. Okay. Chair pose. Inhale, bend knees, reach the arms up overhead. Exhaling, fold forward, softening neck, eyes. Monkey, inhale, the collar away from the lap. And exhaling, we'll step back, find that block, give it a squeeze, the insides of your feet, your ankles, and as you reach back through those heels, lower all the way down. Now you'll have to re-grab the block. Shift the tailbone toward the ground. Inhale, abdomen into the earth. Elevating chest, pull forward with the hands. Exhaling, lower, downward dog. And we'll let that block go. Spread open the hands. Connect to breath. This is not an instruction to make your breath finer or coarser necessarily, but listen and feel the breath as it's being turbinated, spun in your nostrils, and in that area as the nostrils become the tubes that go to your lungs. You can feel the spin, the motion, the friction, the design of that air current. So Ujjayi breath just helps illuminate this motion, this very particular motion of air molecules in the nose, in that vestibule in our face. And as you start to feel that air spinning and moving and getting turbinated differently, you'll start to notice, right, how there's a different quality of nervous system with those motions that are happening in our face. Inhale, step the left foot forward, warrior two. Some of us get a very particular air motion on the out, but there might be no motion on the in. It takes a little muscle. It takes some diaphragm. It takes some rib muscles. It takes some steadiness to invite that breath in a steadying way. You know, I think about this kind of this, I know it's none of us here, but I'm sure there's many people where what's coming, well, you know, they'll have a particular relationship of stuff is coming at me, right? I've got to stave it off. I've got to put up a boundary. Well, we can study that in something as simple as the inhalation. How do I invite the world into my mind, my body? You'll feel that. You can notice that. You can hear that right here. Do I steadily invite it in? Does the world come at me? Right? Do I hold my breath and keep the world out? We'll start to learn a lot about the kinds and the qualities of boundaries that we keep as we listen to the breath, feeling the breath. Inhale, place the hands down around the left foot. Exhale, step the left foot back. There's a block there. So when you grab it, getting both inner feet, inner ankles connected, reaching back to the heels, lowering down. Cobra, re-squeeze the block. Inhale. Exhaling, lower down, downward dog. Open up the hands, firm contact with the earth. And again, listen to your breath right here in downward dog. This isn't an instruction for how to turbinate or how to make the air move a certain way, but just listening to that. There can be qualities of coarseness, fineness. There can be that kind of stutter like it's windy or gusty. Right. Like weather patterns. Can be very smooth, breezy. Be highly resisted, openly invited. Inhaling, step your right foot forward, warrior two. Now that we've got a little more of a listening sense of our quality of breath, let's do something together. So we're going to together kind of sense into that area underneath the skull. So the back of the skull, where the bottom of the brain becomes the top of the spinal cord. And if you need to close your eyes, you can close. If you want to leave them open, open. But as you're connected to breath, feeling that back of brain, notice just any qualities, characteristics as you're sensing your breath on the back of your brain. What's your breath feel like as you're attentionally situated in the back of your brain. Does it feel jumpy? Does it feel smooth? Does it feel challenging to reside there? Inhale, bring the hands around the right foot. Exhaling, when we step the right foot back, set the knees down. There's probably a roll nearby. Let's use it for the abdomen. You could also use a blanket. You can make it soft as you need. Okay. And lie belly on roll. There's probably a block between your legs. Perfect. Hands set for cobra. And engage those inner legs. So I feel the inner feet contacting the block. Shifting the tailbone down. Inhale, coming up into cobra, and we're here for 3 breaths. Listen to that air entering, moving through the nostrils, into the lungs. Is it possible to invite that in? And lowering down. Reset the hands under the chest. Exhaling, press to your knees. Downward dog. And let me just give you a little, Gwen's statistical analysis. Often, and especially when I get to hear and be in the vicinity of your breath, we'll be performing the technique Ujjayi, but it often feels or occurs to me that it's more like putting a roadblock between the face, the vestibule of the face, and the core. And I wondered if that resonates with you, if you might just try on this kind of courageous move of feeling breath enter not only through the nose with the Ujjayi technique, but getting turbinated and moving through the core. So you really have to soften the core to let that breath be felt that deeply. You have to relax the neck also. That's going to be a big helper. Yes. There you go. Way to go. Some of us just relaxed the face in a really profound way. Especially around that right sinus cavity. Someone's got some right sinus stuff. And it really relaxed. Lunge, inhale, step the left foot forward. The right knee and the right heel are off the ground. So we have a very simple practice, but very thorough check-in. Okay, so we've got the knee up and the heel up. Now let's keep listening to that breath. And if that was you if you had that little bit of opening between the sinus and the core, would you be willing to maintain that openness in lunge? To moving and washing this breath through your core. into and through the intensity, the magnitude of sensation of lunge. It helps to keep the eyes soft. I notice if I tighten my eyes, like I tighten out or squeeze out my peripheral vision, there's a tightening around the sinus area, the facial vestibule. So often opening up my ears, opening up my eyes. It feels like breath can move in and through core with less resistance. Relaxing the jaw can help. And even relaxing the tongue muscle, even though there's a little bit of shapeliness to the tongue. It's a lot of relaxed facial structure. You notice as soon as we start to tighten down on the face, no matter, even subtly, you'll feel that tighten down in the core, and then this will get exponentially harder to sustain. Yeah, there's definitely certain kinds of drug interactions that really seem to kind of be sticky, glommy around this sinus and eye area. So it's nice to breathe that open. Cool. Inhale, set the hands down. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Please select cobra if you need to do that. Exhaling, downward dog. Softening through the neck. Let's give downward dog a few more breaths. Open up the hands. Soften through the back of the brain. Feel that current of air, of breath in your nose, in your face, as it's entering not only your lungs, but your core. There's an anatomical component to this. There's an energetic component to this. So in a sense, I'm asking us to feel the energetics of how we block and receive breath. There's energetics to that. All right, one more lunge. Inhale the right foot forward. So the left knee is up, the left heel is up. The final, just moderate challenge of the day. Now, some of you are by a window, and that's fine, that's perfect. Let the window help open and soften your eyes. And connect to breath. You don't have to look out the window. It's just, if you don't have a window, just can you feel and take in the periphery, the edges of the room, the walls, the side of you. You feel that energetically. Did it open up your face or did it close down on your face? Did it open up that sinus cavity? Do you feel the air and the breath getting moved or ushered in differently? Do you feel that breath in your core? I know we were talking about this yesterday. I probably want to touch on it a little bit more. But to contact our core is a perceptual shift. And it starts helping us feel holes. When we contact the core, our perception changes. We feel the whole body, or more whole-bodied. So these narrow ranges of focus now become a whole body range. Good. Inhale, set the hands down. Exhaling, we'll carefully step the foot forward, moving into a fold. Inhale, stand, draw the arms up. Go ahead and open that face back up, kind of the back of the nose. Exhaling, hands to heart. Let's have a seat. Any comfortable, any cross-legged seat will work. And this works best if we can keep our head over our pelvis. When the head starts to translate or move forward in front of our chest, the experience changes. For most of us, it creates this disconnect from the heart. So let's keep the head over the sternum, over the heart rather. And in these just final moments, it's just a little experiment. Breathe in and through the heart. Now, it's just an experiment. But now, just imagine like there's a garage door that's closing right between your nostril and your heart. Sometimes we can do that if we kind of really twist or contort that Ujjayi technique, make a lot of resistance. It's not so easy to breathe into that heart, right? Okay, now just kind of open up that garage door, just ease off that resistance, opening, making that Ujjayi technique softer, much, much softer. You know, just bring the head back a little bit, Connie. There you go. And now again, breathe into the heart. Now let's lie back for Shavasana. In Shavasana, we remain aware of our breath. The technique is so dialed back that there's really virtually no Ujjayi technique. There's just a tongue touch, that sweet little tip of tongue contact with the roof of the mouth. As light as you can possibly make that contact. And just noting and feeling how the world, how our environment is invited into our core, our heart. And when you're ready, bend knees. Turn to a side. And press to seated. So just as a taking this off the mat epilogue, if you like a practice like this, before I would just plunge into doing this in conversation, what I might try out first is selecting some literature that is gorgeous, that's inspiring, and practice reading that poem or that literature, actually lifting those words from your book or your environment and drawing them right into the core of your being. That's a nice little stepping stone practice as we then take that into real people interactions. We take their eyes and their concern and their words right in. All right. Namaste.